My name is Addie, and today I'm going to be speaking about the land grab or climate crisis. Agriculture and property ownership are synonymous. Property ownership equates to the ideals of the American dream as well. America is unique from other countries in our world in that we have an innate desire to own. And if you're lucky enough to be in the agriculture community, to produce, to make something of ourselves, to take care of what we have been blessed with, and to benefit others in need of our resources. This desire has been prevalent since the birth of our nation, so much so that our founders added this ideal to the Bill of Rights. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness speaks volumes to those of us who choose a life of working our land and feeding and clothing this great nation. Our founders also understood clearly that private property is freedom and a foundation to prosperity. And as the undisputedly most successful example in the world of a democratic republic, I would say the founders were right on this one. This is why this issue is both terrifying and of the utmost importance, involving the monstrous takeover of American land by an excess government. You may have heard of it. Prepare yourselves to learn more about the 30 by 30 initiative. 30 by 30 is an environmental agenda seeking to permanently protect 30% of land and oceans by the year 2030, initiated by the Biden administration in the Climate Crisis Executive Order 14008, signed January 27, 2021. This executive order has been in the works for many years, but wasn't implemented until President Biden was elected. 6 days after his inauguration, he signed the executive order aimed at tackling the climate crisis domestically and abroad, establishing a national goal to conserve at least 30% of U.S. lands in freshwater and 30% of the U.S. ocean areas by the year 2030. After much one-sided planning, the right political environment is now in place to make 30 by 30 a reality. The goal of this plan is to conserve 30% of nature by offering a promising vision for connecting protected areas across the globe. Proponents say 30 by 30 is necessary to reverse nature's decline, fight climate change, and secure natural life support systems for clean area, water, food, and the quality of life. Opponents claim 30 by 30 is a prime example of federal overreach. Shrewdly, they are attempting to sell it as voluntary conservation. In fact, our very own Department of the Interior, who is led by a New Mexican, put this statement out in response to the signing of the executive order. This will help restore balance on public lands and waters, create jobs, and provide a path to align the management of American public lands and waters with our nation's climate, conservation, and clean energy goals. I think we can all agree that anytime the government is trying to restore balance in our country, the consequences will be dire for many. This time, the outcome will affect private property owners and agriculture most negatively. Does our nation really want private property principles controlled by the administrative state? Today, there are 893,400,000 acres of agricultural lands in the U.S. The 30 by 30 initiative will take over approximately 509,238,000 acres, leaving American farmers and ranchers with a mere 384,238,000 acres of agricultural lands. That is a hefty decline. To reach the 30% target, it would require adding protection to an additional area twice the size of Texas. It sounds well-intentioned at first until you realize the federal and state governments already control 27% of our land, with an additional 12% of privately owned land already in conservation easement contracts. According to my calculations, adding another 30% of land through 30 by 30, and that means the government would control a whopping 69% of our nation's land. 30 by 30 will be implemented by conservation easements, a way for the government to buy your land. A conservation easement is a written agreement under which a landowner voluntarily restricts use of the property to protect its natural, productive, or cultural features. Farmers and ranchers have previously added 140 million acres to other conservation programs to appease the government. Conservation Reserve Program contracts are usually 5 or 10-year contracts. However, conservation easements are forever. If farmers and ranchers allow the U.S. government an easement, they will never get that land back. The conservation easement and conservation programs are key to the government controlling private lands. Owning private property gives you the right to use something of your own. It's not a rural issue, it's an American issue. This order is a continued erosion of our freedom. If we continue to reduce the ability to produce from the United States, supply shrinks, demand stays the same, prices increase, food will not be affordable. How are farmers and ranchers going to be able to feed a growing population? We'll be forced to rely on other countries for food. United States farmers provide the safest, most affordable, most reliable food for the world. 30 by 30, when implemented, will continue to strip ranchers off the land and meat off the dinner table. It appears that is the goal. Do you really want your food being grown by someone in another country, a country that has no USDA, no standards, no rules? You might be wondering what we as agriculturists can do. To begin, we must read and understand the executive order. We must educate and draft county resolutions that make bold statements. Future generations need us right now. What does the future of agriculture look like if we stop moving forward or become apathetic? What does the future of food security look like if we don't say no to the extremist agendas? Do you agree with me that the ultimate conservationists among us are in the agriculture industry? Even with the burdensome regulations implemented by government agencies who hate this way of life, our farmers and ranchers continue to love, grow, and live on their land. They prosper for the sake of the nation who relies on them. They fight weather, crop failures, pests, and disease, and sometimes just bad luck. But they come back the next season with a renewed mindset to trudge forward and make the sometimes impossible work. They culminate their operations with the goal of passing on the responsibilities to love the land that feeds and clothes us to the next generation. Our time is now. We were born for such a time as this. Are you ready to stand up for the industry we love? Thank you.